And to Talib and DeMarcus, I say good riddance. And I'm speaking, obviously, as a Patriots supporter and a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I have carefully, all too closely, watched both of these players for all too long. They are both extremely talented, and they will be extremely disappointing when it matters the most. And just gut feeling to me, I don't think either will be worth the splash of money that both will require to land in Denver. And obviously, Talib just got $26 million guaranteed. Are you kidding me? Now, look, I am not going to sit here and condemn John Elway for going all in what could be Peyton Manning's last year, or at least his last couple of years. And if you do get the very best out of Talib and maybe out of DeMarcus, maybe, just maybe, you'll hit the Super Bowl lottery. But you will pay dearly for it, obviously, then in 16 and 17 as you're strapped against the cap. I also cannot blame John Elway for trying to strengthen his Broncos by weakening his rival in the AFC, the Patriots. And he did it, as we know, last year with Wes Welker. Okay. But Aqib Talib cannot be trusted. I've been on record with this. I'm going to say it again. 2 straight AFC championship games. When you needed him most, he checked out in the first quarter 2 years ago against the Ravens as he was covering, as you recall, Anquan Bolden, who then just went off and in on the Patriots from that point forward. Okay. Last year at Denver, this last playoffs at Denver, he was gone early in the second quarter after a little collision with one Wes Welker, and it appeared to me from a distance that he would not play with injuries that might have allowed him to suck it up and keep playing with those injuries. I don't know that for a fact, but it even bothered me, Stephen A. Smith, that on a big Monday night in Carolina against Cam Newton, remember the final drive of that game? 83 yards and 13 plays? Right. Where is Aqib Talib? How many times have I sat here on this show saying, well, I'll pick the Patriots as long as Talib finishes the game, and against Carolina, he did not finish against the Broncos and the Patriots. He did not finish the game. DeMarcus Ware, to sum this up, he is a good man with a big, good heart, and I like him very much personally. I no longer trust him either. He disappears all too often. And all I need to remind you of, Stephen A., that was an historically bad Dallas Cowboys defense that ranked 32nd and last in the National Football League and got torched and torched and torched again last year with DeMarcus Ware actually trying to play for that defense, even though he had knick-knack injuries and was beat up a little bit all year. I can only tell you, Stephen A. Smith, the last time I saw a transcendent, game-dominating, a difference-making performance from DeMarcus Ware, I have to go back all the way to December of 2009 when he played hurt at New Orleans against the 13-0 Saints. Do you remember that?
He was sensational.
That was a Saturday night.
Well, then they ruined it 13-0. 13-0.
And it was all DeMarcus all the time. That's the last time I remember that guy, that DeMarcus Ware. So, Stephen A., bottom line to the Broncos, good luck.
Here's where you and I part ways. I can't disagree with you in terms of Aqib Talib and the money he's being guaranteed. It was definitely excessive.
Wow.
$57 million, $26 million guaranteed. I'm not so sure about that for a guy that missed 2 consecutive AFC championship games for all intended purposes. He showed up, but he got hurt the last one.
Yep.
Okay, and when you look at DeMarcus, where there is no question that he has not been himself, partially due to injuries, partially due to the fact that he's contaminated by being a member of the Cowboys. I say all of that to say this to you, however. I can't completely poo-poo this deal simply because we have to remember that it does make the New England Patriots relatively weaker unless they get a Darrelle Revis.
Which we are about to talk about.
If they don't get their hands on somebody or a shutdown corner, on a #1 corner to offset the loss of Aqib Talib, then, excuse me, you've done a great thing if you're the Denver Broncos, because you've definitely strengthened yourself. There's no doubt that they haven't gotten weaker by this. They might have overspent. But you can't say they got weaker by adding Aqib Talib to their secondary. And if you took him away from your #1 nemesis in the AFC, the team you beat in the AFC Championship game, which is the New England Patriots, well, then that's a double whammy for them, and it's a double plus for you. So I look at it from that perspective. What I will say, however, is that if you're the Denver Broncos, you shouldn't be thinking about the AFC. You should be thinking about a Super Bowl championship. Because you got straight up punked in the Super Bowl. Let's just call it what it is. They got beat down. They got bum rushed. They got embarrassed. It was incredibly unfortunate to see how they just ruined out. The best thing about the Super Bowl was Bruno Mars, who was absolutely sensational.
Oh,
but
shockingly so. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming. I'm a fan of his for a long time now because I didn't expect that. Bruno Mars was sensational. But unfortunately, you don't watch the Super Bowl for the best part of the Super Bowl to be the halftime show. You can't. Yeah. They got beat down in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So in light of that reality, why'd you get beat down? Because you got beat up at the line of scrimmage, both on offense and defense. You got beat up in the man's territory, which is at the line of scrimmage. And I look at it, and I understand Klay went down, but you still have beaters. You had Ramirez, you had Vasquez, you had Franklin.
You did.
You had these boys, okay? They played three of them played 16 games, the other played 15. You had Klay only played 2. That was a big loss for them. And I get that because that's a devastating loss. But in the end, what it comes down to is that's clearly where you lost. You lost at the line of scrimmage. Couldn't protect Peyton Manning, couldn't run the football. You had guys scared to catch the football. He had minimal amount of time to throw the football.
Yep.
So all of those things being considered, you would think that would be a priority, both on the offensive and defensive line. And John Elway using most of his cash to go after Aqib Talib.
Yep.
DeMarcus Ware, assuming you believe he can give you something, that's legit. But
so you don't think this changes the balance of Super Bowl rematch power?
No.
You know, like
no. I think this does close to nothing